eyes and gaze won't open up for me. Dreams are falling. All I need is you, hazy. I'm calling. I dedicate that song to Chocolate Milk. All I need is you.
Okay.
You're cool. What's up, dude? You okay? You're not gonna high-five me?
You just said you just put chocolate milk over me. So.
Chocolate milk has always been there for me, and will always continue to be there for me.
Are you saying I won't?
I don't know. Lot can happen. You could in fact be a figment of my imagination.
I'm
and
not.
People from across the world that watch this are just genuinely concerned for my own mental health because I'm conversing right now to nothing. I can't confirm that you are real. Again, I can't confirm that your consciousness is legit, mainly because your brain is like a birdhouse without the bird. See what I mean?
Lights are on, but the people are on vacation.
Yeah, I mean that power bill's gonna be crazy. You know?
My grandparents used to do that when they leave town.
It's gotta be
Just
expensive.
leave a light on. Because they were convinced if they left a light on, no one would break in because they would think there's someone's home.
No? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's how that works.
They were convinced every time because they would have me house sit.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, leave the hallway light on. I was like...
Oh, just like a singular light, like not like all the lights in the house.
Yeah, just like one light.
If we turn on all 800 lights of the house, no one will come and try to break in.
They were just like, leave the hall light on. Then they know someone's here.
Otherwise, the demons will come. Hello, welcome to Hot Graves and Omens.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Fred Stewart. With me, as always, my lovely co-host.
It's me. It's Taylor. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
You know, hanging in there.
Yeah.
Got a lot going on.
Felt that.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine.
Is that a surge?
Ooh.
Oh, shit. I have nothing for you. That's about how.
I made a mistake.
You got White Claw all over the keyboard.
Who cares?
I care.
I bought it.
I'm going to have to touch it. My hands are going to get sticky. I don't like when my hands get sticky. You're forgetting I am autistic and I don't like when my hands
believe
get
Tay,
sticky.
Tay, my love, believe me. I didn't forget that you're autistic. I interact with you every day by choice.
I like how you add by choice as if to clarify, I'm not holding you hostage.
Not anymore. Because now I know the methods.
The method?
I know the methods to get away from you if you were holding me hostage.
Like
yeah.
what?
We go, hey, you ever thought about sharks? Like how cool sharks are? Like there's like a bunch of different kinds.
It's not.
Did you know that?
I thought you were.
Did you know that?
I did.
What's your favorite kind of shark?
I've already said my favorite kind of shark on this podcast. I think last episode.
What's your favorite kind of shark?
I like a good hammerhead.
See, that's all I gotta do. And then I continue and I backpedal out of the room.
No, because I'm just gonna follow you.
Go. Well, one time when I was see, the thing is, yeah.
See, if you really want to distract me, just bring up dogs. That'll get me.
And I don't want to talk about dogs.
You'd be like, there's a Belgian over there, and I'd be like, I guess I gotta go over there.
Yeah. We're going to have a guy from Belgium here.
Yeah.
And he's going to be on the podcast. He's going to sit, like, basically where I'm sitting. But, like, kind of. Be like, I don't know, separated.
I don't know if he's as cool as Spirit.
He'll probably call me fat. Like he does. It's a Twitch Monarashi, my boy. But, yeah, anyway. Welcome to Hot Graves and Omens. We said that already, but got some true crime news for you. Comes from Sky News. Kentucky man jailed for 9 years after faking death to avoid child support payments. Now, we can choose our friends. We can't choose our parents. But our parents can choose to fake their own deaths. And honestly, kind of cool. Scumbag behavior. But What did he think was going to happen?
I think he thought he was going to get away with it.
You see, what I did is I made a death mask of myself out of mashed potatoes, and then I reverse grafted it onto the body of an orangutan.
Oh.
And I shaved the orangutan and I left it in the side.
He got away with it for 9 years, though?
Yeah. It's Kentucky. So Jesse Kip, 39 of Somerset, Kentucky, was sentenced to 9 years of prison for computer fraud and aggravated identity theft after he attempted to skip out on his outstanding child support payments. Carlton Scheer, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Kentucky, said the statement of Kip's addressed Hawaii's death registry system in January of last year. Using login details from a doctor living in another part of the United States, the 39-year-old created a case for his own death and completed a worksheet for a death certificate in the Aloha State. Bless you. As a result, Kip was registered as a deceased person in several government databases, and in his arrest in November, he admitted he did this in part to avoid child support payments.
He's probably not paying that much in child support. Like.
Listen, your child support payment, you have to talk to your son, who's really into
you don't even have to
trucks right now.
You don't even have to. You just give money. You don't even have to talk to him.
Man, it's a dream, right? It's like, ugh, don't talk to me. Buy an Xbox. Make friends. Talk to strangers on the internet and leave me alone.
Oh my god.
You have a story you wanted to bring up?
Yeah.
Of the coolest guy ever?
Yeah, so a Georgia mayor faces felony charges after investigators say he stashed alcohol in a ditch for prisoners. This is from AP News, and it comes from Thompson, Georgia. The mayor of a small Georgia town has been indicted on charges that he illegally left a bottle of gin in a ditch for a state prison work crew. Thompson Mayor Benji Carrie Cranford was indicted on Wednesday and arrested by Georgia Bureau of Investigation agents. The GBI.
I think I got GBI.
He faces felony charges of furnishing prohibited items to inmates and attempt to commit a felony. The indictment issued Wednesday in McDuffie County Superior Court says a 52-year-old Cranford drove to a store on June 3rd, bought a bottle of Seagram's Extra Dry Gin, and left it in a ditch along Georgia 150 in Thompson in the path of a work crew of state prisoners from Jefferson County Correctional Institution. And, so they did an investigation, then arrested him. He had a $5,000 bail. That's it. That's all.
I mean, what are they really going to get him on other than, like, littering?
2 felony charges.
Of what? Trying to have a good time. Also, what was his nickname? Benji?
Yeah.
Classic Benji behavior.
Yeah, that's fair. I know Benji. That seems like something he'd do.
That is some classic Benji behavior. I don't know any Benjis. I think I met a dog named Benji once.
It's Benji behavior.
Yeah, it's classic Benji behavior.
I worked with a Benji.
Yeah.
For a while.
Now, Ben. No.
Ben is not going to do that.
Ben's not doing it.
Benji.
But a Benji.
Benji will.
Yeah.
Can I also say the second story?
Yeah, about the methamphetamine, yes.
So also from AP, methamphetamine disguised as a shipment of watermelons seized at U.S.-Mexico border in San Diego.
Now, what's the best way to ruin a picnic?
I'll bring the watermelon.
Things that ruin picnics. Birds, ants, food that you drop by accident. You're like, there goes the casserole or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then fall close behind all that is watermelons that are actually methamphetamine. It's tales of time.
I like the picture of it because I don't know what my close-up is.
There you go, champ. Proud of you.
I don't know what my close-up is.
3?
No, my
Oh,
Manic.
your ultra close-up? 6.
Oh, this way. Oh,
Wow,
God.
yeah, that looks great.
I didn't... Listen.
There you go. Look at that. It is literally just a fake watermelon.
I like that...
That is that is a gigantic bundle of methamphetamine.
I like that they thought that was going to get through.
It's not the fucking Looney Tunes.
That's what watermelons look like.
Sir, is that a... No.
You trying to tell me that's not what a watermelon looks like?
I can confirm that's not what watermelon looks like.
I don't believe you.
Like the one guy packaging all the meth is like, they're like, listen, he really loves arts and crafts. All right, just hear me out. We'll let him, you know, just this one time, okay? It's a one-time thing. And if it goes well, maybe we'll try oranges next. You know? Never get the shade right.
So apparently the meth valued at more than $5 million was found August 16th when the cargo aboard a tractor trailer from Mexico was unloaded for a detailed inspection. Among real watermelons, the officers found 1,220 packages wrapped in paper colored to look like watermelon skins. The total weight of the packages amounted to 4,587 pounds of meth. No surprise there. The truck driver was turned over to Homeland Security.
Yeah, listen.
Listening?
It was a great idea. It wasn't, but it was an idea, and
sure fucking was.
Have they considered? Listen. Have they considered I don't know, trying other foods? Like I'm just trying to spitball. I'm not trying to give them ideas, but like was watermelons really the top of the choice? Like they didn't want to do I don't know, like I said, oranges or limes or
It's the worst version of is it cake?
Oh yeah. Worst version of it is a cake, and it's like that Japanese game show where they have to bite on it, bite on the stuff, find out if it's chocolate, it bites into it, it's just fucking meth. Start fucking losing it. Yeah, that's a great idea. Well, in listen, dystopian. If we just fly off the handle a little bit more as a globe.
Yeah.
And really start just start doing some really awful shit, kind of get back to our roots. We can start doing that.
Well, because I'm thinking of you have an actual watermelon, you have that. And you're like, oh, that one's obviously cake, and you just go to cut into it, and it's just a bunch of meth.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not mine. But hey, something for everybody.
Listen, I gotta make my VHS business a little more lucrative.
You live in a city where VHSs still actually have value. Probably one of the only fucking cities in America where VHSs have value.
Closely followed by probably San Francisco.
I don't think so.
Seattle.
Probably Podunk, Nebraska or something like that. It's some
I'm trying to think of where all the hipsters live.
Portland, Oregon.
More than that.
Seattle, Washington.
We're probably in close competition with Seattle on how many working VHS tapes
You heard it here first. Someone in the comments, go ahead and just go door to door in Portland. Start on the south side or the Lloyd district, whatever is scarier, and then just that way you can get it over and done with. And just door to door, knock on doors, find out who owns VHSs and how many, and we'll report back by the end of the decade. And then we'll begin. Still a plan?
Yeah.
Now, Tay.
Yes.
True love at first sight, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You, on our second date, said that you love me, which is true. Which is by far one of the most awkward dates I've ever had in my entire life. It was the funniest thing in the world. What did we went to an arcade?
I think we did mini golf.
We did mini golf.
I think we went to the mini golf, and
Yes, and I was dropping you off, and it was like, I had a good time tonight. Like, I had a good time too. And we're like, yeah, like, I'll text you. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. And you're like, okay, I love you. And then you turn to get out, and then you turn back, and you have tears in your eyes. Because you realized that's not something you say to someone.
So
on a second date.
It was out of like a habit of like getting out of the car like with your family, and you're like, okay, bye, I love you, and then you're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hold on.
Permanently on the record. You said it first. And now love is...
And then I cried.
Then you cried, which is very funny. And love is one of those things that will grab a hold of you and will hold you tight, or it will end in horrible death and destruction for your bodily self and your spiritual self. But that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Ooh.
With one of the greatest love stories of all time, but also one that's pretty fucked up. And all in all, we're talking about the infamous Bonnie and Clyde. Ooh is right. We'll start off our story with Bonnie Parker, and we'll kind of go through her life a little bit, and then we'll jump into Clyde, and then we'll get into the fucking meat of the story, to the meat. So, Bonnie Elizabeth Parker Bepp, if you want to call her that, was born in 1910 in Rowena, Texas, the second of three children. Her father, Charles Robert Parker, was a bricklayer who died when Bonnie was 4 years old. Her widowed mother, Emma Krause Parker, moved with her family back to her parents' home in Clement City, an industrial suburb in West Dallas, where she worked as a seamstress. As an adult, Bonnie wrote poems such as The Story of Suicidal Sal and The End's Trail, and the latter more commonly known as The Story of Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Parker was a bright child who thrived on attention. She enjoyed performing on stage and dreamed of becoming an actress. In her second year in high school, Parker met Ray Thornton. The couple dropped out of school and married on September 25th, 1926, 6 days before her 16th birthday. The marriage was marred by his frequent abuses or absences and brushes with the law, and proved to be short-lived. They never divorced, but their paths never crossed again after January 1929. Parker was still wearing the wedding ring Thornton had given her when she died. Thornton was in prison when he heard of her impending death. Spoiler alert, but you should know the story of Bonnie and Clyde by now. Basically saying that, glad she lived her life and this and that. Yeah. And then he was released in prison later on. But, yeah. As for Clyde Chestnut Barrow, Clyde Chestnut Barrow. He was born in 1909 to a poor farming family in Ellis County, Texas, southeast of Dallas. He was the fifth of 7 children of Henry Bezel Barrow and Sumi Talia Walker. I'm going to say it's Sumi. I'm going to guess because I don't think their first name is Cummy. That's my wife, Cummy. The family moved to Dallas in the early 1920s as part of a wider migration pattern from rural areas of the city, where they settled into the urban slum of West Dallas. The Barrows spent their first few months in West Dallas living under their wagon until they got enough money to buy a tent. Oh. So Clyde was first arrested in late 1926 at the age of 17 after running from police when police confronted him over a rental car that he had failed to return on time. His second arrest was with his brother Buck Barrow, which is a fucking strong name, Buck Barrow.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that sounds like a man who strangles like cows. Something like he's like wild game, fights bears.
I like the
I'm
cows.
Buck Barrow.
I like the cows.
The all-new Buck Barrow. I don't know, dude. I was thinking of cow stuff.
Is that the new Chevy?
The all-new Chevy Cow Strangler. Barrow had some legitimate jobs from 1927 through 1929, but he also cracked safes, robbed stores, and stole cars. He met 19-year-old Bonnie through a mutual friend in January 1930, and they spent much time together during the following weeks. The romance was interrupted when Barrow was arrested by Dallas County Sheriff's deputies, and he was convicted of auto theft. Barrow was sent to Eastham Prison Farm in 1930 at the age of 21. He escaped from prison farm shortly after his incarceration using a weapon that Bonnie had smuggled to him. Oh. He was recaptured shortly after and sent back to prison. While in prison, he was assaulted, and he retaliated by attacking and killing his tormentor with a pipe, crushing his skull. This was his first murder. Another inmate who was already serving life sentences claimed responsibility. To avoid hard labor in the fields, Barrow supposedly had 2 of his 3 toes amputated in January 1932, either by another inmate or by himself. Because of this, he walked with a limp for the rest of his life. However, without his knowledge, Barrow's mother had already successfully petitioned for his release, and he was set free 6 days after his intentional injury. Now, not great timing, Mom.
She couldn't have started 6 days earlier to get him out.
Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of paperwork, or there's probably a lot going on.
How mad do you think he was when he?
It's like I can't work hard labor anymore. And he's like, I'm gonna cut my fucking toes off so we don't have to do it. And then he does it, and they're like, "Hey, Barrow, you're out." And he's like, "Fuck, no, dude, not now."
You couldn't
I'm staying in.
Give me a week. Let me at least get some use out of what I did.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, he was paroled.
You know what though? Mm-hmm. Good plan.
It is a great. I mean, no.
Good plan.
It's not a good plan. It's a plan.
How else are you gonna get out of hard labor?
I don't know, dude. Just be funny.
Doesn't work in prison.
Do funny stuff.
No, don't work in prison.
You're taking your pickaxe and you're hitting the rocks and you're like, guys, it's like Minecraft. And you're like, oh wait, it's the 1930s or 19. So you guys aren't gonna get that. Also, I don't even know what that is. So.
Yeah. See, I don't think that's gonna work. I'll be honest.
Or best way to get out of hard labor is do soft labor.
What's that?
I don't know, dude. I was trying to come up with a bit, and it's falling apart rapidly.
I was just curious what soft labor is versus hard labor.
There's some categories on labor.
Soft labor is crocheting a blanket together,
or
making stuffed animals.
Gently picking up baby ducklings and giving them little pats and then putting them back in the water. But the only problem is you have to do 5,000 of them a day. Otherwise, you're never going to be released.
I think that, in turn, just becomes...
If you pet them too hard, you squish them, dude. And you're like, can't do that.
Then you got to start all over.
You got to start all over again. Back to 0.
You're 4,998. Go to do 4,999.
You touch it, explodes. Yeah, and you're like, no! No! Yeah, anyway. He was paroled from Eastham on February 2nd, 1932. Now a hardened and bitter criminal. His sister Mary said, something awful must have happened to him in prison because he wasn't the same person when he got out. Yeah, I don't think prison in the 1930s is necessarily a place you go and come out and you go, well, that was great.
I'm going to say what happened in prison was prison.
Yes.
That tends to not be so good on the psyche.
Yes. And fellow inmate from the same prison, Ralph Fultz, said that he watched Clyde change from a schoolboy to a rattlesnake.
Okay.
Physically. He started wearing tails and getting into hobby horsing.
No one really knows this, but Clyde was the first Therian.
Oh my god. Oh my god. No, absolutely not. They were out bags and he's like he's got a little stick horse and he comes in, he's like, this is a robbery. Does a little gallop. Anyway. Barrow, it is East Postman career. Barrow robbed grocery stores and gas stations at a rate far outpacing the 10 or so bank robberies attributed to him in the Barrow gang. His favorite weapon was an M1918 Browning automatic rifle, aka the Bar. According to John Neal Phillips, Barrow's goal in life was not to gain fame or fortune from robbing banks, but seek out revenge against the Texas prison system for the abuses that sustained him while serving his time. So, crazy. There are like several different types of like accounts of the initial meeting of Parker and Barrow's, like, you know, Bonnie and Clyde's first meeting.
Yeah.
One of the more credible versions of this is that they met on January 5th, 1930, at the home of Barrow's friend Clarence Clay in West Dallas. Barrow was 20 years old. Parker was 19. So Bonnie was out of work, and she was staying with a female friend to assist her during her recovery from a broken arm. And Clyde dropped by the girl's house while Bonnie was in the kitchen making some hot chocolate. Both were smitten immediately. Like, I love chocolate. Do you love chocolate?
Hot chocolate in June?
January.
Oh.
It's January.
I thought you said June.
No, you got like real aggressive for like a couple of seconds, dude. Well, you need
I thought you said in June, and I was like, who the fuck?
The way you just came at me for that. Listen, I'm just reading the notes. All right.
I swear to God, you said June.
If I did, I flubbed, but I'm pretty sure I said January.
And I was like, who the fuck drinks hot chocolate in June?
Maybe, you know, it didn't say if it was like the evening or something, you know. Maybe we're having a little, you know, it's the evening. You want like a nice little warm drink?
Have a s'more.
Okay, well, yeah, but like a hot chocolate, you know.
Not in June.
Yes. Hot chocolate is a year-round drink. It just depends on the time of day.
I have never had a hot chocolate in June.
Okay. This is a weird fucking hill to fight and die on for no reason. For literally no reason. If you've had a hot chocolate in June, please put something in the comments. What a weird thing to get aggressive about. You're like, in June? First of all, it's January. But
that makes way more sense. I'm not upset.
I was
going
to do like a whole improv bit about them meeting and then making hot chocolate, and then it was going to be like this thing, but that was insane. Great. Proud of you, champ. Most stories believe that Bonnie joined Clyde because she had fallen in love with him. She remained his loyal companion as they carried out their violent crimes and awaited their soon-to-be violent deaths later on. But and I'm sure they had like hot chocolate like in June, at some point.
I don't fucking think so.
Listen, I don't know.
Have you had hot chocolate in June?
I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I don't keep a fucking spreadsheet of every time I've had hot chocolates.
I mean,
don't even act like you do, because you don't even name your fucking documents of the podcast that we're going to have to sift through, by the way.
Well, okay, so I mean, worst case, if that happens, I can just go to the date of when the thing was uploaded and just go like a couple days before that, and there it is. Bada bing, bada boom.
Or you just name it.
That seems harder. I'm not going to go back and name them now.
See, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. This is what I deal with on a fucking daily basis. Is this. You're fucking wheezing over there. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I got a lot going on.
Yeah, great. So After Clyde's release from prison in February 1932, him and his buddy, Ralph Foltz, began a series of robberies, primarily focusing on stores and gas stations. Their goal was to collect enough money and enough firepower to launch a raid against Eastham Prison. On April 19th, Bonnie and Foltz were captured in a failed hardware store, a burglary in Kaufman, in which they intended to steal firearms. Bonnie was released from jail after a few months when a grand jury failed to indict her. Foltz was tried, convicted, and served time. He never rejoined the gang. Bonnie wrote poetry to pass the time in Kaufman County Jail and reunited with Clyde within a few weeks upon release. On April 30th, Clyde was the getaway driver in a robbery in Hillsboro, Texas, I believe. Yes, Hillsboro, Texas, during which the store owner, J.N. Butcher, was shot and killed. Butcher's wife identified Clyde from police photographs as one of the shooters, although he stayed inside the car.
Oh.
Accessory to murder, technically.
Yeah.
On April 5th, Clyde, Raymond Hamilton, and Ross Dyer were drinking moonshine at a country dance in Stringtown, Oklahoma, when Sheriff C.G. Maxwell and Deputy Eugene C. Moore approached them in the parking lot. Clyde and Hamilton opened fire, killing Moore and gravely wounding Maxwell.
Jesus.
Not a great way to say hello.
No.
No.
Usually not.
It's like giving someone a cup of hot chocolate and gin. Now, more what?
That's a worse crime
Than murder, and attempted murder, first degree murder, and attempted murder.
Yeah.
That's the worst crime is giving someone hot chocolate
in June.
In June.
Specifically. Actually, I think in July would be worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's how that works.
Well, you're allowed to have opinions.
Yeah, I do. I do have opinions, and that is an incorrect one. Okay. Moore was the first law enforcement whom Clyde and his gang had killed. They eventually murdered 9. On October 11th, they allegedly killed Howard Hall at a store during a robbery in Sherman, Texas, though some historians consider this unlikely. W.D. Jones had been a friend of Barrow of Clyde's family since childhood. He joined Bonnie and Clyde on Christmas Eve, 1932, at the age of 16, and the three left Dallas that night. The next day, Christmas Day, 1932, Jones and Clyde murdered Doyle Johnson, a young family man, while stealing his car in Temple. Barrow killed Tarrant County Deputy Malcolm Davis on January 6, 1933, when he, Clyde, and Jones wandered into a police trap set up for another criminal. The gang had then had murdered 5 people since since April. Had murdered 5 people since April.
Man.
It's a lot of murder.
Yeah.
It's a lot of murder.
A lot of murder.
On March 22nd, 1933, Clyde's brother Buck was granted a full pardon and released from prison, and he and his wife Blanche set up housekeeping with Bonnie and Clyde and Jones in a temporary hideout in Joplin, Missouri. According to family sources, Buck and Blanche were there to visit. They attempted to persuade Clyde to surrender to law enforcement. The group ran loud, alcohol-fueled card games late in the evening in the quiet neighborhood. Blanche recalled that, quote, they bought a case of beer a day.
All right.
Like a case of beer a day. Between, 5 people.
I mean, that doesn't seem that crazy.
If it's 30 racks a day. It's crazy. It's a case of beer. It doesn't really specify how much beer was in this case. If it was the PBR 999 cases...
Probably not, but...
Well, you never know.
I don't think those exist then.
Well, I don't know, dude. I'm not a beer historian. I do know that the oldest brewery that still exists is from 1048 or something like that, but that's not important.
I think you know more about beer than I do.
It's a drink. Mm-hmm. And if you drink too much of it, you get really into NASCAR. So I think that's part of it.
That's one of the side effects.
One of the side effects is you get really into NASCAR and you start saying the words, it's not opinions, it's facts. I think that's one of the things you just start saying. The man came and went noisily at all hours, and Clyde accidentally fired his bar rifle in the apartment while cleaning it. No neighbors no neighbors went to the house, but one reported suspicious behavior to the Joplin Police Department. Police assembled a 5-man task force, which is barely a task force. That's like a group of guys.
I was gonna say this is really.
That doesn't really seem like a task force to me. A task force, I seem would have to at least 10. That's a task force.
Well, I mean, I think maybe 4 is like the qualifier. So they were like, we'll put 5 on it, and then we can call it a task.
A five is a task force. 4 is a posse. You know, like it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, they assembled 5 officers as a task force in 2 cars on April 13th to confront what they suspected were bootleggers living in the Oak Ridge Drive address. The Barrow brothers and Jones opened fire, killing Detective Harry L. McGinnis outright and fatally wounding Constable J.W. Harriman. Bonnie opened fire with a Browning assault rifle as the others fled, forcing Highway Patrol Sergeant B. Collar to duck behind an oak tree. The .30 caliber bullets from the bar struck the tree and forced wood splinters into the sergeant's face.
Jesus.
Yeah, Browning assault rifles, the BAR, they're fucking huge. Like, they're huge. They're big.
I don't know.
We also used them in World War II, which is before all of this. But yeah, they're big. They're a big gun, but they're, you can carry it, fucking swing it around. Accidentally discharge around into the neighbor's house. It's it's one of those things.
It happens.
So Bonnie got into the car with the others, and they pulled in. They pulled in Blanche from the street where she was pursuing her dog Snowball. So Snowball takes off and is running down the street. Blanche is like, I gotta go get my dog, and starts running off. Meanwhile, fucking Bonnie's like, and fucking just laying down, suppressing fire.
Listen, I get it. She just wants her dog.
Yeah. Like, come on, Snowball, come on. She ducks down, whips over the back of her head, and she's like, come on, who's mama's little baby?
Spirits like me.
She's out cold. Now,
no, she's staring at you.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh. It's one of those things. The surviving officers later testified that they had fired only 14 rounds in the conflict. One hit Jones in the side, one struck Clyde, but was deflected by his suit coat button, and one grazed Buck after ricocheting off a wall, which is fucking bad luck.
Yeah.
Like, one dude gets hit outright. Clyde pulls a fucking Superman move, bounces off.
Yeah.
And then Buck's like, I'm fine. And then it's like, oh shit. Like, no. You gonna come up here?
She said, yeah.
Okay. Come on,
She's working on it. She's working on it.
So the group escaped fix the set here.
That was definitely a jump of sorts.
It was certainly a jump. The group escaped the police at Joplin, but left behind most of the possessions of the apartment, including Buck's parole papers, which were 3 weeks old, a large arsenal of weapons, and a handwritten poem by Bonnie, and a camera with several rolls of undeveloped film. So police saw this undeveloped film, and they're like, better toss this. No, they immediately developed it at the Joplin Globe and found many photos of Bonnie, Clyde, and Jones posing and pointing weapons at one another. Like, just like, look down the barrel. Like, can you see the bullet? Can you see it? I think I can see it. Can you see it?
I think so.
And pulls down a fucking Browning assault rifle, and he's like, "This one's loaded, but look, can you tell? Can you see it?" Yeah. Like, okay. Police did. Sorry, I already said that. The Globe sent the poem and the photos over to the Newswire, including a photo of Bonnie clutching a cigar in her teeth and a pistol in her hand.
Oh my god.
Like a fucking gangster. The Barrow Gang subsequently became front page news across America. Oh. Breaking news. She has a gun. So,
she has a gun. She has her dog.
Yes. John Dillinger had a matinee idol, good looks, and Pretty Boy Floyd had the best possible nickname, but Joplin Photos introduced new criminal superstars with the most tantalizing trademark of all, illicit sex.
Ooh.
Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker were wild and young and undoubtedly slept together. That's what it says.
Oh.
It's a long headline.
Probably shorten it down a little bit.
Yes. The group ranged from Texas as far north as Minnesota for the next 3 months. In May, they tried to rob the bank in Lucerne, Indiana, and rob the bank in Okabena, Minnesota. It's Minnesota. They kidnapped Dillard Darby and Sophia Stone at Ruston, Louisiana, in the course of stealing Darby's car. This was one of several events between 1932 and 1934 in which they had kidnapped police officers or robbery victims. They usually released their hostages far from home, sometimes with money to help them return, which sounds a lot like John Dillinger.
That is weird, though. They're like, "You're coming with us, but don't worry, we'll give you like $50 to get home."
Yeah, back then when that was like $10,000, you know. But like it reminds me of John Dillinger when when they're in the car and they're like leaving the bank, and the woman has her sandwiches, and he's like, "Can I have that?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess."
Fucking
yeah,
guess.
She takes it, and then he's like eating it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you go," and like gives her like like $100. It's like, okay, I mean, I'd rather the sandwich, but. I bought it was my lunch, and
the $100 can buy another sandwich.
Not out here. There's not a Subway in the middle of nowhere.
Not in this car, it can't.
Yeah. Unless we stop at a fucking Quiznos on the way. I'm not getting another sandwich.
I fucking love Quiznos.
I've only been to a Quiznos once.
I was a big Quiznos.
By choice. What? You were a big Quiznos person?
Yeah.
That's got to be the first time a sentence has ever been said.
So when I was younger, we don't have them around here anymore. Like, they're gone. Mm-hmm. There's one up in Washington.
Great.
I've looked. I was curious what the closest Quiznos was, because I liked Quiznos a lot when I was younger. That was my jam.
Mm-hmm. Great.
New lore unlocked.
It's like when you're playing a video game and you find a note that's like not relevant to anything. Like, and it's not going to affect your story. It's not going to affect the way you play the game. It's not going to affect. It's just kind of one of those like random like NPC notes that you find. That was that, but in real life.
Just in like Fallout with a note. I was a big Quiznos girly.
Someone please make that a mod. I'm a big Quiznos person. That's got to be the first time that sentence has ever been said. I also, the other day, and I said a sentence that I looked at my manager and I said, this is going to be the first time I'm ever going to say this. But when should I take the cat out of the freezer? That might seem very strange. I work at a crematorium. So, yeah. But it just made me laugh, and I was like, it's the most insane question I've ever asked anybody. Anyway, stories of such encounters made headlines, as did more violent episodes. The Barrow Gang did not hesitate to shoot anyone who got in their way, whether it was police or an innocent civilian. Other members of the gang who committed murder included Hamilton, Jones, Buck, and Henry Methvin. Eventually, the cold-bloodedness of their murders opened the public eyes to the reality of their crimes and led to their ends.
Ooh.
The photos entertained the public for a time, but the gang was desperate and discontented, as described by Blanche in her account written while imprisoned in the late 1930s. With their new notoriety, their daily lives became more difficult as they tried to evade discovery. Restaurants, motels became less secure. They resorted to campfire cooking and bathing in cold streams. The unrelieved, round-the-clock proximity of 5 people in one car gave rise to vicious bickering, which I can only imagine is annoying when everyone in the car is a murderer. You know, be like, I was gonna shoot that guy, but but you decided to shoot him. But yeah. I mean, I was gonna do it, and I just, whatever. Like, it's not about like
it got done, didn't it?
Yeah, but like I was gonna do it.
You can have the fucking next one, I guess. But it got done. That's all that fucking matters, right?
I swear to God that has to be a conversation that existed. That someone was like, well, I was going to fucking shoot him. It's like, well, if you were going to shoot him, you would have done it. And I'm like, oh, you bitch.
You should have shot him faster.
Like, I'll fucking shoot you. And like, I'll shoot you first. And we're pointing guns at each other. And they're like,
I love you.
I got to fart again. Like, no. Have you guys considered an RV yet? Jones was the driver when he and Clyde stole a car belonging to Darby in late April, and he used that car to leave the others. He stayed away until June 8th. He was like, fuck it, peace. He left him in the dust.
Oh, shit.
Clyde failed to see the warning signs at a bridge under construction on June 10th while driving with Jones and Bonnie near Wellington, Texas, and the car flipped into a ravine. Oh, shit. So not great.
Not a great start.
Yeah. There was no like OnStar on this motherfucker. It's just, like you'll be like flying with the stars.
I need some roadside assistance.
Someone call the police. Wait, no. Don't do that. Sources disagree on whether there was a gasoline fire or if Bonnie was doused with acid from the car's battery from under the floorboards. But she sustained third-degree burns to her right leg so severe that the muscles contracted and caused her leg to, quote, draw up.
Oh, shit.
Ouch. Yeah. Jones observed that, quote, she'd been burned so bad none of us thought she was going to live. The hide on her right leg was gone from her hip down to her ankle.
Jesus.
I could see the bone at places.
Gross.
It is pretty bad. Definitely, listen, there's other ways to ruin a picnic. And no, Parker could hardly walk. She either hopped on her good leg or was carried by Clyde. She got help from a nearby family farm, then kidnapped Collinsworth County Sheriff George Corey and City Marshal Paul Hardy, leaving them two handcuffed and barbed wired to an oak tree outside of Eric, Oklahoma. The 3 rendezvous with Buck and Blanche, and hid at a tourist court near Fort Smith, Arkansas, nursing Parker's burns. Buck and Jones, this is such a funny sentence. Buck and Jones bungled a robbery. Then it doesn't get as funny when he murdered Town Marshal Henry D. Humphrey in Alma, Arkansas. The criminals had to flee despite Parker's grave condition. So they're fucking killing.
Yeah.
They're like,
everybody is on
dead.
The table.
Yeah. I mean, on a slab for sure.
Jesus.
I'm just saying.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Technically correct. In July of 1933, the gang checked into the Red Crown Tourist Court south of Platte City, Missouri. It consisted of 2 brick cabins joined by garages, and the gangs rented both. To the south stood the Red Crown Tavern, a popular restaurant among Missouri highway patrolmen, and the gang seemed to go out of their way to draw attention.
Like Spirit right now.
Yes, like Spirit right now.
She's here to draw attention.
I'm trying to do a podcast.
Her head is now the microphone.
You're so...
Listen, she was nice and cozy, but she kept looking at you to pet her.
Let me turn the head that way. They go, look at that.
She kept trying to get you to pet her while she was laying there, and you weren't petting her. So she was like, fine, I'll get up and do it myself.
You're being ridiculous.
Come here.
Anyway, so Blanche registered the party as 3 guests, but the owner, Neil Hauser, could see 5 people getting out of the car. He noted that the driver backed into the garage, quote, gangster style for a quick getaway.
Oh.
Which I don't know what that means.
He's just like backed into the spot.
Back the car up into the garage. Gangster style.
Of course.
Blanche paid for their cabins with coins rather than bills, and did the same later when buying 5 dinners and 5 beers. The next day, Hauser noticed that his guests had taped newspapers all over the windows of their cabin. Blanche again paid for 5 meals with coins. Are you good?
She's fine.
Yeah. So basically she was wearing, Blanche was wearing like riding breeches, which also attracted attention. They were not typical attire for women in the area, and eyewitnesses still remember them 40 years later. Hauser told Captain William Baxter of the Highway Patrol, a patron of the restaurant, about the group. Barrow, Clyde, and Clyde and Jones, they go into town to purchase some bandages, crackers, cheese, and atropine sulfate to treat Parker's legs. The pharmacist, it says druggist, but the pharmacist contacted Sheriff Holt Coffey, who put the cabins under surveillance. Coffey had been alerted by Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas law enforcement to watch for strangers seeking such supplies. The sheriff contacted Captain Baxter, who was calling reinforcements from Kansas City, including an armored car.
Ooh.
Pretty cool. Sheriff Coffey led a group of officers towards the cabin at 11 p.m. armed with Thompson submachine guns. Moments later, shots are fired.
Oh, shit.
In the gunfight that ensued, the officers' 45 caliber Thompsons proved no match for Clyde's 30 caliber Branding assault rifle stolen on July 7th from the National Guard Armory in Enid, Oklahoma. Dude starts fucking opening up with military weapons.
That's wild.
At law enforcement. Just fucking laying into them. The gang escaped when a bullet short-circuited the horn of the armored car. Okay, make sure she keeps pulling our set over. Listen.
She does her best.
Yeah. Then the officers mistook it for a ceasefire signal. They did not pursue the retreating Barrow vehicle.
Oh.
They got confused. The gang had evaded the law once again, but Buck had been wounded by a bullet that blasted a large hole in the bone of his forehead and exposed his injured brain.
Jesus.
He got a hole in his head.
He does not have good
And, like,
luck.
not by choice. You know? It wasn't like a fashion thing.
I don't think a hole in the head is
I don't know.
a fashion thing.
Body modification, dude. First of its kind. I mean, he's going to die because of it.
That man does not have good luck, though. Like, he...
yeah.
Like, he got hit by a bullet that ricocheted off of a wall.
Yeah.
And then got by, what was it? A fucking...
Catch a 45 ACP round to the fucking forehead.
Yeah.
And it blasts a hole in his head.
It did not really work out.
Not great.
No.
Blanche was also nearby, blindsided by glass fragments. So, you know. But worse off is getting a fucking hole in your head.
Yeah.
It's not great. So the Barrett gang decided that, hey, perfect time to go camping at Dexter Park, an abandoned music park near Dexter, Iowa, on January 24th, 1933. Buck was sometimes semi-conscious, and he even talked and ate. but his massive head wound and loss of blood were so severe that Barrow and Jones dug a grave for him. Residents noticed their bloody bandages, and officers determined that the campers were the Barrow gang. Local officers and approximately 100 spectators surrounded the group, and the Barrows soon came under fire. Huh?
What else are you gonna do on a Sunday?
Yeah, let's go sit and watch a gunfight. That sounds all right. I don't know why I'm Australian, but I'm Australian now. What do people sound like from Iowa?
Like,
I did my time and I want out.
I mean, I was thinking just your normal, like, Midwestern.
Oh, heck yeah, bud.
Maybe a little less, like, northern Midwest.
Oh, heck yeah, bud. Jesse Ventura. I don't know. I'm losing it. Starting to fall apart.
I don't like that one.
You don't like Jesse Ventura? The reptilians are coming. Okay. So immediately they're under fire. Bonnie, Clyde, and Jones escaped on foot. Buck was shot in the back.
Jesus Christ.
So Buck was shot in the back, and his wife was captured by officers.
He's not got a lot of good luck.
Catches a ricochet, gets a hole in the head, and gets shot in the back. Buck died of his head wound and pneumonia after surgery 5 days at King's Daughters Hospital in Perry, Iowa. So they at least attempted to save his life. Yeah. They at least attempted to they got him surgery, but probably the loss of blood and everything else, the infection, probably not great. For the next 6 weeks, the remaining perpetrators ranged far afield from their usual operations, west of Colorado, north of Minnesota, southeast of Mississippi, yet they continued to commit armed robberies. They restocked their arsenal when Clyde and Jones robbed an armory on August 20th at Platteville, Illinois, acquiring 3 Browning assault rifles, handguns, and a large quantity of ammunition.
Oh.
Yes. By early September, the gang risked a run to Dallas to see their families for the first time in 4 months. Jones parted company with them, continuing to Houston, where his mother had moved. He was arrested there without incident November 16th and returned to Dallas. Through autumn, Clyde committed several robberies with small-time local accomplices, while his family and Bonnie's attended their considerable medical needs. On November 22nd, they narrowly evaded arrest when they were trying to meet with family near Sowers, Texas. Dallas Sheriff Smoot Schmidt, that's a fucking tongue twister, ever heard of it? Dallas Sheriff Smoot Schmid, Deputy Bob Alcorn, and Deputy Ted Hinton lay in wait nearby. As Clyde drove up, he sensed a trap and drove past his family's car, at which point Schmid and his deputy stood up and opened fire with machine guns and a Browning assault rifle.
That sheriff's name was Smoot Schmid?
That is correct.
Okay.
Deputy Smoot Schmid.
Who the fuck?
He's a cartoon sheriff.
Well, so, okay, who has a child, looks at their baby, and I'm like, I'm going to name you Smoot.
I'm going to name you Schmoot.
Like.
Little Schmoot? That's kind of, it's a cute nickname. Terrible.
Dude, he got made fun of. All through
This is my,
school.
I'm Smoot Schmidt.
You're fucking what?
This is my son.
Schmidt Schmoot.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And my daughter, Bethany. It's a completely normal name.
Like that's
my family's cartoon characters.
Such a weird fucking name.
Yes. Anyway, the deputies stand up and they fucking start dumping rounds. They're just laying down heavy gunfire. The family members in the crossfire were not hit, but a Browning assault rifle bullet passed through the car, striking the legs of both Bonnie and Clyde.
Jesus.
They escaped with their lives that night.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because everybody thinks of the story of Bonnie and Clyde of they rob banks, they kill a couple people, and and then they just die in this blaze of glory. They were getting fucked up the entire time. They were like
they weren't doing very good.
They were literally serial killers.
Yeah.
By definition.
Yeah.
Serial killers. Not great.
They're not doing so good.
They're not doing great. All right?
They have not done very well for themselves.
It's true. On November 28th, a Dallas grand jury delivered a murder indictment against Bonnie and Clyde for the death in January of that year, nearly 10 months earlier, of Terra County Deputy Malcolm Davis. It was Bonnie's first warrant for murder.
Oh.
Murder.
Murder.
Murder. Murder. On January 16th, 1934, Clyde orchestrated the escape of Hamilton, Methvin, and several others in the Eastham breakout. The brazen raid generated negative publicity for Texas, and Clyde seemed to have achieved what historian Phillips suggests it was his overriding goal on the revenge against the Texas Department of Corrections. Breakout. So, the Bear Gang member Joe Palmer shot Mayor Joe Croson during his escape, and Croson died a few days later in the hospital. The attack attracted the full power of the Texas and federal government to manhunt for Bonnie and Clyde. Oh. You got the FBI on you. You got the Texas Rangers on you now. It is no longer just these local sheriff's departments and local police departments.
Yeah.
You have the federal government coming for blood. So, as Croson struggled for life, prison chief Lee Simmons reportedly promised him that all persons involved in the breakout will be hunted down and killed.
God damn.
All of them eventually were, except for Melvin, who preserved his life by turning on the gang and setting up the ambush that we'll talk about later on.
Oh.
Yes. The Texas Department of Corrections contacted former Texas Ranger Captain Frank Hamer, I think it's Hamer, Frank Hamer, and persuaded him to hunt down the Barrow Gang. He was retired, but his commission had not expired.
Oh.
Which is like, it's straight out of a movie yet again.
Yeah.
It's like, they're like, Frank, we get a job. He's like, I'm done. I'm out of this business. I've been out of this business for like a long time. I don't even look at the calendar anymore.
I've been out for a minute.
I'm retired. I'm out of it. And they're like, your country needs you, son. And he's like, God damn it, I'll fucking kill someone for my country on American soil. There's nothing I love more than hunting down criminals and killing them in lukewarm blood. It's not really cold blood. They're killers.
Fair.
Hot blood. You ever have a cup of hot chocolate in June? Anyway, he accepts the assignment as a Texas Highway Patrol officer, secondarily assigned him, to the prison system as a special investigator, and was given the specific task of taking down the fucking Barrow Gang.
Oh.
Frank Hamer's coming for you, Captain Frank Hamer. Hamer was tall, burly, and taciturn, unimpressed by authority, and driven by, quote, an inflexible adherence to a right or what he thinks it's right. So, like, he was like, I'm going to fucking do what I think is right.
Yeah.
For 20 years, he had been feared and admired through Texas as the walking embodiment of the, quote, the one riot, one ranger ethos.
Oh.
Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
He had, quote, had acquired a formidable reputation as a result of several spectacular captures and the shooting of a number of Texas criminals. He was officially credited with 53 kills and suffered 17 wounds.
Holy shit.
Dude killed 53 people He is literally the literal embodiment of Texas's gun. It's the fucking coolest cop ever. You know what I mean? Like, just like, it's just cowboy shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it's the 30s. It's just like, I don't know, something about it is like the coolest shit ever of them, like, they fucking call him and they're like, we need you to kill. And he's like, I'm about to go John Wick on these bitches. You know, like, he just does it. Like, that's the fucking, dude, just cool. Cool guy.
They're like, you need to kill. He's like, so they're pulling my leg, I guess. Yeah, no, I'll go do it.
Since you're pulling my leg and I'm about to pull theirs off. Prison boss Simmons always said publicly that Hamer had been his first choice, although there is evidence that when he first approached 2 other rangers, who both of whom declined because they were reluctant to shoot a woman. So, a woman who is killed gets killed, law enforcement has killed all these people, and they're like, but it's a lady. I don't want to kill a woman. I want to kill a lady. Fucking blast her. You know?
Women get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
And crimes and everything.
Unless you're Eileen Wuornos.
It's fair.
She nipped on it. I see Eileen Wuornos. Anyway, starting on February 10th, Hamer became the constant shadow of Bonnie and Clyde, living out of his car, just a town or 2 behind them. 3 of Hamer's 4 brothers were also Texas Rangers. Brother Harrison was the best shot of the 4, but Frank was considered to be the most tenacious.
Oh.
Yes. So, on Easter Sunday, April 1st, Easter Sunday, April 1st, 1934, at the intersection of Route 114 and Dove Road near Grapevine, Texas, now Southlake, Highway Patrolman H.D. Murphy and Ed Bryant Wheeler stopped their motorcycles thinking a motorist needed assistance. Instead, Clyde and Methvin or Parker, Bonnie, opened fire with a shotgun and a handgun, killing both officers.
Damn.
Yeah, just trying to help. An eyewitness account said Parker fired the fatal shots, and this story received widespread coverage. Methvin later claimed that he had fired the first shot after mistakenly assuming that Barrow wanted the officers killed. Clyde joined in firing at the patrolman Murphy. So during the spring season, the Grapevine killings were recounted in exaggerating detail, affecting public perception. All 4 Dallas daily papers seized on the story told by eyewitnesses, and a farmer who claimed to have seen Parker laughed at the way that Murphy's head, quote, bounced like a rubber ball on the ground as she shot him.
Jesus.
She's not a nice, neat lady. No. Nobody in this story is a nice person.
No.
You know?
Definitely not.
They're not like doing this because they're like, you know, they're like, we're trying to save money for our kid, or they're like, we're trying to save the orphanage, or like, or something. They're doing this because they're fucking crazy.
Usually you don't rob a bunch of places for an orphanage either.
Well,
only sometimes.
Most
of the time it's charity, but
rob charities. Got it.
No.
No. So the stories claim that police found a cigar butt with tiny teeth marks, supposedly being that of Bonnie. Several days later, Murphy's fiance wrote her intended wedding dress to his funeral, attracting photos and widespread coverage. So wore her, not wrote her.
Teeth marks on the cigar?
Yeah, holding her teeth.
Just chewing on it.
Yeah. I don't know how to smoke cigars. We're like, God damn it, Bonnie, we did it again. Cigar. Okay, I'll just throw this away. That was like, I mean, I stole it, but like, it was like $30.
Also, tiny teeth. I don't think women
tiny teeth marks.
I don't think women have smaller teeth than men.
I don't know. Maybe she's a mouse.
I was going to say she got a little rodent teeth.
We soon find out that Bonnie Parker was indeed a mouse.
Like,
Give a mouse a Browning assault rifle. The eyewitnesses' ever-changing story was soon discredited, but the massive negative publicity increased at the public clamor for the extermination of the Barrow Gang. The outcry galvanized the authorities into action, and the Highway Patrol boss L.G. Ferez offered a reward of $1,000 equivalent to $22,776 in 2023 for, quote, the dead bodies of the grapevine slayers. Not their capture, just the bodies.
oh, shit.
Nobody's fucking around anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody's entertained. Nobody in the public is smitten by these guys anymore, thinking it's a fucking cute story. Everybody wants them dead, and they're gonna make them fucking dead, no matter what it takes.
Oh my gosh.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Texas Governor Ma Ferguson added another reward of $500 for each of the two killers, which meant that for the first time, quote, there was a specific price on Bonnie's head since she was so widely believed to have shot H.D. Murphy. Public hostility increased 5 days later when Barrow and Methvin murdered 60-year-old Constable William Cal Campbell, a widower and father near Commerce, Oklahoma. They kidnapped Commerce Police Chief Percy Boyd, crossed the state line into Kansas, then let him go, giving him a clean shirt, a few dollars, and a request from Bonnie to tell the world that she did not smoke cigars.
She was like, those weren't my tiny teeth.
Yeah, she's got like fake giant teeth on. yeah, giant teeth. It's like, you have a tooth, not teeth, tooth. It's one giant tooth. Like a ventriloquist on me. It's incredible.
I like how she's like, listen, say what you want. I don't smoke cigars.
Say what you want. I don't smoke cigars.
I got regular big teeth, okay?
I got big teeth like everybody else, right?
Super defensive about her teeth, specifically.
It's like, babe, it's fine. Your teeth are fine. There's nothing wrong with your teeth.
I have normal sized teeth.
I know you have normal size. I didn't say you had small teeth.
You seem to be acting like I have small teeth, and I don't fucking appreciate it.
You have rodential-like teeth.
Come on.
If you were a shark, I was gonna be like a frilled shark, you know. Anyway, I got fucking lost now. Boyd identified both Barrow, Bonnie, and Clyde to authorities, but he never learned Methvin's name. The resultant arrest warrant for the Campbell murder specified Clyde Barrow, Bonnie Parker, and John Doe. Historian Knight writes, for the first time, Bonnie was seen as a killer, actually pulling the trigger, just like Clyde. Whatever the chance she had for clemency had just been reduced. Yes. The Dallas Journal ran a cartoon on its editorial page showing an empty electric chair with the sign saying reserved, adding the words Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh.
But they wouldn't make it to the electric chair. In fact, they won't make it very far at all.
Oh.
Dun dun dun. By May 1934, Clyde had 16 warrants outstanding against him for multiple counts of robbery, auto theft, escape, assault, murder, and 4 states. Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes. Hamer, who had begun tracking the gang on February 12th, led the posse. He studied the gang's movements and found they had swung in a circle, skirting the edges of the 5 Midwestern states, exploiting the state line rule that prevented officers from pursuing a fugitive into another jurisdiction. Barrow was consistent in his movements, so Hamer charted his path and predicted where he would go. The gang's itinerary centered on a family visits, and they were due to see Methvin's family in Louisiana. Unbeknownst to Hamer, Clyde had designated Methvin's parents' residence as a rendezvous in case they were separated. Methvin had become separated from the rest of the gang in Shreveport, Louisiana. Hamer's posse was composed of 6 men: Texas officer Hamer, Hinton, Alcorn, and B.M. Maney Galt, and Louisiana officers Henderson Jordan and Prentice Morrell Oakley.
That seems more like a task force.
Now that's a fucking task force. When you got a guy who has killed 53 people in the name of the law,
Yeah.
that's a task force.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Calling someone out of retirement to go hunt people down, that's a task force. Just you and your buddies, on task force. Uh-huh. On May 21st, the 4 posse members from Texas were in Shreveport, Louisiana, when they learned that Bonnie and Clyde were visiting Ivy Methvin in Bienville Parish that evening. The full posse set up an ambush alongside Louisiana State Highway 154 South and Gibbsland towards Salinas. Hinton recounted that the lawmen were in place by 9 p.m. and they waited through the whole next day, May 22nd, with no sign of the perpetrators. Jesus fucking Christ.
Perpetrators.
Okay, first of all, dude, I'm really sensitive about that, okay? I was made fun of all my life because I couldn't say my R's. All right, I went to physical. I went to word therapy. You know,
Yeah.
I had to learn how to fucking talk.
I can't say my S's most of the time.
Yeah, you fucking idiot. I tried so hard to get through that bit. That is true though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
teeth were fucked up.
I have a really hard time saying my S's because I have like overbite.
Yeah.
I have rodent teeth.
God, you built like a pug sometimes. You know? You know?
That's an underbite.
Whatever.
There's a big difference.
Built like a cartoon dog. Is that acceptable?
No, it's not. I groomed this Shih Tzu, Daisy May. I think I've sent you pictures of her teeth where she's like, all the time. That's me.
Hair in my fucking mouth. Anyway, other accounts of the officers set up on the evening of May 22nd. Approximately 9:50 a.m. on May 23rd, the posse was still concealed in the bushes, almost ready to give up when they heard a vehicle approaching at high speed. In their official report, they stated that they had persuaded Methvin to position his truck on the shoulder of the road that morning. They hoped Barrow would stop to speak with him, putting his vehicle close to the posse's position in the bushes. The vehicle proved to be a Ford V8 with Clyde at the wheel, and he slowed down as he had hoped. The 6 lawmen then opened fire while the vehicle was still moving. Oakley fired first probably before in any order to do so. Clyde was shot in the head and died instantly from Oakley's first shot, and Hinton reported hearing Bonnie begin screaming.
Yeah.
The officers fired a total of around 130 rounds, emptying each of their weapons into the car. The 2 had survived several bullet wounds over the years and their confrontation with the law. But on this day, any one of several of Bonnie and Clyde's wounds could have been the cause of death. They were literally Swiss cheese.
Jesus.
Fucking, annihilated them.
Jeez.
Annihilated.
I mean, that's kind of what happens when you kill hundreds.
Listen, they
tens of people.
They were past the point of trying to get them in custody.
Oh yeah, no.
It was not going to happen.
No.
And they decided that was the best plan of action. Yeah. And according to statements made by Hinton and Alcorn, each of us 6 officers had a shotgun and an automatic rifle and pistols. We opened fire with the automatic rifles. They were empty before the car was even got with us. Then we used shotguns, and there was smoke coming from the car, and it looked like it was on fire. After shooting the shotguns, we emptied the pistols from the car, which had passed us and ran into a ditch about 50 yards down the road. It almost turned over. We kept shooting at the car even after it stopped. We weren't taking any chances. Shooting a car so much that it almost looks like it's on fire is insane.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yes. Film footage taken by one of the deputies immediately after the ambush showed 112 bullet holes in the vehicle, of which around 1/4 struck the couple. Official report by the parish coroner, J.L. Wade, lists 17 entrance wounds on Clyde's body and 26 on that of Bonnie. Including several headshots each, and one that had severed Clyde's spinal column. Undertaker C.F. Boots Bailey, I think his name is Boots, it's a great Undertaker name, had complained because he had a difficult time embalming the bodies after death because there were so many holes.
Listen, at that point, maybe don't even embalm them.
Yeah, just, I don't know, throw them in a ditch or something.
I mean, like, I assume their families wanted them, like, cremated or for a funeral or whatever, but, like, I think you need to have a closed casket.
Yeah, for sure. So I
don't think an open casket is an option.
Yeah. So the now deafened officers walk up and begin to inspect the vehicle and discover an arsenal of stolen automatic rifles, sawed-off semi-automatic shotguns, assorted handguns, and several thousand rounds of ammunition, along with 15 sets of license plates from various states. Hamer stated, I hate to bust the cap on a woman, especially when she was sitting down. However, if it wouldn't have been her, it would have been us.
It's true.
So basically, I put a cap in her ass. Is basically what he said. Technically, what he said. It's like, it's also a true factual statement. They would have fucking everyone in there could have just died.
Yeah.
It's insane. Word of the deaths quickly got around when Hamer, Jordan Oakley, and Hinton drove into town to telephone their bosses. A crowd soon gathered at the spot. Galton and Alcorn were left to guard the bodies, but they lost control of the jostling curious throng. One woman cut off bloody locks of Bonnie's hair and pieces from her dress, which were subsequently sold as souvenirs. Why true crime now? Why do people care about true crime now? You know, it's also, everybody thinks about true crime now. Definitely not back then.
No. Definitely not.
It's absurd. So Hinton returned to find a man trying to cut off Clyde's trigger finger and was sickened by what was occurring. Arriving at the scene, the coroner reported nearly everyone had begun collecting souvenirs such as shell casings, slivers from glass from the shattered car windows, and bloody pieces of clothing from the garments of Bonnie and Clyde. One eager man had opened his pocket knife and was reaching the car to cut off Clyde's ear. There is no scene security. Nobody.
Granted.
Yes.
I think they know what killed him.
Old age?
I was going to say heart attack.
Yeah, by getting shot like fucking 17 times. Yeah, I would say. Hinton enlisted Hamer's help in controlling the circus-like atmosphere that got people away from the car after they just touched everything.
Granted, I don't think there was fingerprint analysis or. Granted, they probably wouldn't.
Well, they had both been to jail by that point, so I mean, at least you could be like, oh, "This is Bonnie and Clyde," and they can go like fingerprint them.
Yeah.
Make sure. But I get it.
I mean, like.
At least just don't touch. Don't touch.
Listen, yeah, no, I agree. Don't touch. However, I don't think scene security was like the most important thing in this particular case.
If someone want Clyde's ear? It's like, no. Also, what the fuck are you gonna do with Clyde's ear?
Put it in a jar.
Okay, great. But you think you're gonna walk up to an active crime scene and be like, I'm just gonna take that real quick. And just like start cutting a dude's ear off?
In this particular case?
You don't think, huh?
I said in this particular case, I don't think they, it just happens.
No, it doesn't just happen. That's why they're like, everybody get the fuck back. So the posse towed the Ford and the dead bodies that were still inside to the Conger Furniture Store and Funeral Parlor in downtown Arcadia, Louisiana, which is a fucking weird business. furniture store and funeral parlor. Like, you just sit down and you're like, I miss my husband. This couch is nice. Oh my God. Have you seen this couch?
I have. It's
Earl would have loved this.
He would have.
Yeah.
I think we should spend the $200. Just
too rich for my blood. Now, that's like 40 grand.
I think that's what he would want.
I think what he would want to be still alive and nobody to try to cut off his ears. You
don't know what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I know what he wanted.
Do you speak to ghosts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
What are Bonnie and Clyde saying right now? That went exactly where I was expecting that to go. That's wonderful. Preliminary embalming was done by Bailey in a small preparatory room in the back of the furniture store, as it was common for the furniture stores and undertakers to share the same space.
Can I get this? Can I get this futon?
Now is not a time. Now is not the time.
There's no one else out here.
Listen, I work on the funeral side.
But there's no one out here.
Oh my God. Okay, do you want the futon? You want can I introduce you in like a sectional?
I mean, I was thinking about just the futon, but can you show me the sectional?
Yeah, I can. You want to see me sectional in this dude's chest real quick?
No, I was hoping for like comfortable, like sit down kind.
Try this chair while I cut this man's chest open.
I have a really great chair right over there. If you want to give me just...
I call it my looking chair. I sit there and I look.
If you want to give me just 2 minutes to finish up what I'm doing right here, you can have a seat in that chair. I'll be right with you.
It is a weird thing that a funeral home and a furniture store share the same space.
Yeah.
It's bad vibes. I'm about to get a haunted couch from that. The population of the Northwest Louisiana town reportedly swelled from 2,000 to 12,000 within hours.
Damn.
Curious people arrived by train, horseback carriage, and plane. Beer normally sold for 15 cents a bottle, but it was jumped to 25 cents. The sandwiches quickly sold out. It's a party down here in Louisiana.
Can I sit in your looking chair?
Can I sit in your looking chair and eat and drink my 25-cent beer and eat my sandwich while you cut open Bonnie and Clyde?
I kind of just want to watch.
No. Henry, can I get on with this, please? Jesus Christ. I want to watch. Whining isn't going to make me want to let you sit in here, all right?
I'll be quiet if you let me watch.
Fine.
Okay.
So Henry Barrow identified his son's body, then sat weeping in a rocking chair at the furniture section, which I didn't mean to laugh at, but it's very sad.
It is very sad.
Listen, they probably love their children.
Yeah.
And it is sad that he's weeping for his son. But choosing his son like that. Yeah. But then going over to the furniture store and sitting down, getting into a rocking chair and just crying.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that those stores are connected. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still really weird to me.
Yes. H.G. Darby was an undertaker at the McClure Funeral Home, and Sophia Stone was a funeral home. Was a home demonstration agent, both from nearby Ruston. Both of them came to Arcadia to identify the bodies because the Barrow gang had kidnapped them in 1933. Bonnie reportedly had laughed when she discovered that Darby was an undertaker. She remarked that maybe someday he would be assisting. He'd be working on her. Darby ended up assisting Bailey in the embalming. Talking about foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Fucking bizarre. So, Bonnie and Clyde wished to be buried side by side, but the Parker family would not allow it. Her mother wanted to grant her final wish to be brought home, but the mob surrounding the Parker house made that impossible. More than 20,000 people attended Parker's funeral, and her family had difficulty reaching her gravesite. Parker services were held on May 26th of that year. Alan Campbell recalled that flowers came from everywhere, including some with cards allegedly from Pretty Boy Floyd and John Dillinger.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. The largest floral tribute was sent by a group of Dallas City newsboys. The sudden end of Bonnie and Clyde sold 500,000 papers in Dallas alone.
Wow.
It's insane. Bonnie was buried at the Fish Trap Cemetery, although her body was moved in 1945 to the new Crown Hill Cemetery in Dallas, Texas. Thousands of people gathered outside of both Dallas funeral homes, hoping for a chance to view the bodies. Barrow's private funeral was held at sunset on May 25th. He was buried in Western Heights Cemetery in Dallas, next to his brother Marvin. The Barrow brothers shared a single granite marker with their names on it and an epitaph selected by Clyde: "Gone, but not forgotten."
Certainly not.
Yes. So, the American National Insurance Company of Galveston, Texas, paid life insurance policies in full on Barrow and Parker. Since then, the policy of payouts is changed to exclude payouts in cases of death caused by any criminal act by the insured.
Oh, so that's what?
Yes.
That's what put that clause in?
That is correct.
Oh.
That
makes sense.
That makes sense. The 6 men of the posse were each to receive 1/6 share of the reward money. Dallas Sheriff Schmidt, fucking Smoot Schmidt, had promised Hinton that his total would be the total sum of $26,000, but some of the organizations had pledged reward funds on their pledges. Reward funds renegated on their pledges. In the end, each lawman earned around $200 for their efforts and collected memorabilia. So listen, you only get $200, but you get to keep all this dead guy stuff. So that's kind of cool.
Do you want a finger?
You want this guy's ear? But in the summer of 1934, am I a rocking chair? Or sectional. New federal statutes made bank robbery and kidnapping federal offenses. The growing coordination of local authorities by the FBI, plus two-way radios and police cars, combined with making it more difficult to carry out a series of robberies and murders than it had been just months before. 2 months after Bonnie and Clyde were killed in Gilsbend, Dillinger was killed on the streets in Chicago.
Yeah.
2 months.
Oh, shit.
That's it. And we did a John Dillinger episodes. Go check those out. It's actually one of our most popular series that we did. It's on YouTube, funny enough. So go check those out if you haven't already. 3 months after that, Pretty Boy Floyd was killed in Ohio. 1 month after that, Babyface Nelson was killed in Illinois. They started fucking murking robbers pretty quick.
Especially, like, them, you know? They were so high notoriety that I get it.
Yes. And as of 2018, Bonnie's niece and last known surviving relative has campaigned for to have her aunt buried next to Clyde. So it's campaigning to make it happen, get her buried next to her beloved. And at the end of everything, Bonnie and Clyde had killed 12 people, including 9 law enforcement officers during their 2 years of criminal activity from February 1932 to May of 1934.
Jesus.
12. It is insane. Yeah, they had claimed basically there's a lot of aftermath of it, of finding the stolen guns and basically just trying to get everything back to where it's supposed to be. Alcorn claimed Clyde's saxophone from the car, but he later returned it to Clyde's family.
Yeah.
Posse members took other personal items such as Bonnie's clothing. The Parker family asked for them back, but they were refused, and the items were later sold as souvenirs. The Barrow family claimed that Sheriff Jordan kept an alleged suitcase of cash, and writer Jeff Ginn claimed that Jordan bought a barn and land in Arcadia soon after the event, thereby hinting that the accusation had merit despite the complete lack of evidence. But while Bonnie and Clyde are in the ground, and the only thing that at least within the state of Texas still exists of them, of their headstones and their bones, if you will, there was one thing that did survive the encounter. their death car.
Oh.
Yes. Jordan attempted to keep the death car, but Ruth Warden of Topeka, Kansas, the vehicle's legal owner, sued him. Jordan relented and allowed her to claim it in August 1934, still covered in blood and human tissue. Yeah, fuck yeah.
They were like, listen, lady, if you're going to fight that fucking hard for it, here you go.
Yeah. The engine still ran despite the damage the vehicle took during the ambush. Warren picked up the car in Arcadia and drove it to Shreveport, still in its gruesome state. From there, she trucked it to Topeka, Kansas. Fucking got in it, was driving it. It's covered in human tissue, like brain matter, like blood. And by then, it's probably rotten.
Probably. I imagine they were like, if we offer her this car,
she's just gonna pick it up
in tissue and disgusting, like decomposing matter, she's not gonna want to take it, and then I get it. And she comes and she's like, thank you very much. She drives off. They're like, oh, not how I planned that to go.
Definitely not. So the bullet-ridden Ford became a popular traveling attraction. The car was displayed at fairs, amusement parks, and flea markets for 3 decades, and once became a fixture at the Nevada racetrack.
Oh.
There was a charge of $1 to sit inside the car.
Cleaned?
Probably not. Probably not well.
Ugh.
Not professionally.
Ooh.
But in 1988, the death car arrives in Sin City, baby.
Ooh.
Yes. Whereas the casino purchased the vehicle for about the equivalency of $250,000 at the time, which is equivalent to $644,063 in 2023. As of 2024, the car and the shirt Clyde was wearing when he was killed are displayed behind the glass panel at Buffalo Bill's Resort and Casino in Primm, Nevada, alongside Interstate 15.
Oh.
Yes. And if it's kind of fun, and if you guys are video game nerds like me, and you go play Fallout New Vegas, which is based around Las Vegas area, if you go to Primm, and you go inside the Buffalo Casino, you'll see a depiction of the death car. It is such a staple for the macabre in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So Clyde's enthusiasm for cars was evident in the letter that he wrote from Tulsa, Oklahoma on April 10, 1934 to Henry Ford. While I still have got breath in my lungs, I will tell you what a dandy car you make. I have drove Fords extensively when I get away with one. For sustained speed and freedom from trouble, the Ford has gotten every other car skinned, and even if my business hasn't been strictly legal, it didn't hurt anything to tell you what a fine car you got in the V8. Hyping up Henry Ford.
Great.
Yes. It's just insane.
That's wild.
That, like I said, we could go on about the other half of the Clyde, the Barrow gang and all that, but this is just about Bonnie and Clyde. All right.
Hell yeah.
And their deaths in the end.
Yeah.
And their death car.
Well,
we should go see the death car.
We should. I don't know why we didn't when we were in Vegas last time.
Yeah. I don't know if our Primm is outside of Vegas.
I don't think it's far though.
I don't know.
Listen, if you can walk to it in New Vegas.
Yeah, but I don't have a cool Pip-Boy playing fun music.
I got a smartwatch for the Pip-Boy.
That works for me.
So.
you got a speaker on it?
Yeah.
Perfect. Just walking around playing Ain't That a Kick in the Head? I'll have a pistol. We'll shoot like large rats or something. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it'd be great. Then we'll go to jail. But, you know.
Do you think they'll let me keep my smartwatch?
No, I don't think so.
Face on it? Okay.
No, I don't think so. Well, Tay, did you have fun?
I did.
You're a sick fuck for that.
Oh. Ah.
How can you mix those up?
Because Because I don't know.
That's okay.
I don't normally have a manic cam.
I know, it's a new thing for you. Manic cam, perhaps.
I'm really far down. I'm slouching. I slouch further as we get in.
Yes.
I'm like...
This couch is comfortable, that's why.
Yeah.
But if you had fun, you're a sick fuck. But we love you. Let's see. Be sure to raise it in the listening app, like, share, subscribe. You know the business. You know what to do. If you want to follow us on Instagram or TikTok, you can at HGOPodcast. You can send us hate mail or love mail or pictures of Bonnie and Clyde over at HGOPodcast@gmail.com. Sorry, HGOPodcast. Excuse me. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Excuse me. Spoiler alert. You can send us an email over at the HGOPodcast. Yeah, HGOPodcast@gmail.com. I almost said HGOPodcast.com. That doesn't exist yet. Not yet. If you want to follow me directly, you can at I Hunt the Haunted on Instagram. I do TikToks of it so often. I make fucking dumb videos of the cat or something that's out there. But I will pass it off to my beloved Tay.
Hi. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at, it's down there, Lunar Thrill. You can also follow our dog at Spirit the Turf.
Spirit the Turf.
Maybe there will be some photos of her at this next dog show.
Yes, perhaps, hopefully.
Perhaps you can run her and I'll get photos of you guys.
I don't like to run. Now,
it's not real running. It's jogging in a circle.
When this episode comes out, be sure to look at our Instagram. It'll be in there. But there'll be a whole thing about H.G.O live. Probably gonna do it tomorrow. Probably around I don't know, 5-6 o'clock Pacific Standard. Just come on for like an hour or so and just kind of bullshit with you guys. And it'll probably do like a Instagram live or something like that. So make sure you go check that out. But yeah, hi Spear. Oh, hi. You want to say hi to your dad? Yes, I know.
I don't need headphones.
I know. Listen, I love you too. Okay, that's great. Look, can you sit down and look at the camera?
Good.
There you go.
Good job.
Well, remember to stay spooky.
Stay haunted.
And hot chocolate in June? In June?
In June?
Okay, bye.